Yo, what's up, guys? So today we're going to be doing a video on Avalanche, which is obviously Palaview's favorite blockchain if you haven't noticed so far, but there's really good reason for that. On October 6th, I think it was, we published one of our first Palaview premium reports, and in it featured Avalanche, right? And on that day, it was trading at around $9, right? And now it's trading at $37. And I think it's gotten up to almost $50 since between now and then. So obviously, and we've also shared a number of Avalanche ecosystem projects as well. So I wanted to kind of give you more information as to why we like Avalanche so much, and specifically from like a kind of technical perspective, right? Because what Avalanche is actually really, really interesting. It's like Avalanche from a technical perspective, and even from like a team perspective, is its own, right? Because Avalanche has this amazing combination of community, right? Of this team, right? That this team, if you research this team, guys, like the combination of engineering skill sets, business development skill sets, former Wall Street founders of blockchain period and Eamon Gunsarir, right? Like Eamon is a guy who, if Vitalik has a problem, right? If Vitalik Buterin has a problem, there's only like one or two people he is going to call, and 100% one of those two people, if not just one of those people, is Eamon. So, and Eamon was also extremely pivotal in solving the hack that happened. So, learn about the team behind the project, right? Which is obviously covered in our report. And if you want access to that previous report, you can go to our WAP page and pay for access to the previous reports. But from everything from business development, because they got former Wall Street guys, Blackstone guys, they are killers. So there's no surprise that they're doing so well. But this video is going to just focus on technicals, right? What is technically happening on this blockchain that we call Avalanche, right? So obviously, we all know it's freaking fast. You use an Ethereum application and you switch over to use an Avalanche application, you're going to feel the difference. It's, a little bit less so now since, Ethereum 2.0 came out, but you're still going to be paying 1/10 to 1/15th, maybe 1/20th the transaction fees for an even faster, better experience and a much more trustworthy experience, a more pure decentralization, and all these things. Okay. You can see Avalanche is also one of the most decentralized. Like if you were to look up, they have like this Satoshi score. There's like a score for levels of decentralization of different protocols. If you go to that page, you don't take my word for it. Google what are the most decentralized blockchains out there. They have like a live screener tracking these things. Avalanche is consistently in the first or second position, especially relative to usage. So usage relative to decentralization, it blows everything else out of the water, especially something like Solana, which is something you'll never see me talking about Solana. We'll just say that, okay? But moving on. Everyone can become a validator, so it's truly decentralized. Anyone can hop in and join as a member of that validation community. Every transaction has to be validated with every validator, okay? Not a trivial point. And obviously it has these EVMs, right? So it supports an Ethereum virtual machine, which is why when Ethereum first came out, it was able to, I mean, excuse me, when Avalanche first came out, it was able to get so much momentum so quickly because they were able to mobilize all of these Ethereum based applications, like say a Uniswap or a AV, these different like a lending protocol. They were able to take those, just the code that was written and deployed on Ethereum, and just deploy it on Avalanche, right? Because they were able to use literally the same code base to release the same application using the same Ethereum virtual machine, just that Ethereum virtual machine sat on top of, which is essentially the C chain on Avalanche, which leverages all of the beauty and the decentralization, the consensus stuff that we talked about before. Because their consensus mechanism is also its own beautiful thing. But if you want to learn about that, that's in the report. So The other thing that I find really cool about this is that it has subnets and this fee burning thing. So whenever you use gas on Avalanche, it burns that Avalanche. So the Avalanche is deflationary, right? So there's no inflation worry you have to have. You can actually go to another specific website that shows all of the Avalanche that's been burned just from usage. Okay. The other thing, and this is the most important thing, is subnet architecture. Now, subnets are a little bit tricky for people to understand, but at least, especially back in the day. But today, it's easier because you guys can go look at what the most sophisticated video games are in the blockchain space and where they're being built. And you will see 100% of them are building on top of Avalanche. Now, why is that? Well, and first of all, these aren't video games like Club Penguin, which is what we've essentially seen, like the best of video games in blockchain up until this point have been kind of like, these Club Penguin like video games. But I'm talking about like Call of Duty level first person shooter multiplayer games. These are being built on Avalanche right now. And it's because they don't have anywhere to go, right? Avalanche is extremely energy intensive. Excuse me. Ugh. These video games are extremely energy intensive, and that's why they're forced to use Avalanche. Okay. Subnets also enable a lot more interesting things regarding like customization, especially customization for an institution, right? An institutional blockchain, an enterprise blockchain, a blockchain that can get 1 million users on it, right? So say say we have a stock exchange, right? And we're trying to mobilize a stock exchange onto a blockchain so that we're able to have a tokenized stock exchange, right? Sounds good. But do you think BlackRock, Blackstone, all of these institutions are going to allow an application to exist if the main user is paying Avalanche or Ethereum as gas and transaction fees? There's there's no chance, right? So Avalanche as a transaction fee is not required on an Avalanche subnet, right? Or a gas fee. What is enabled is the use of stablecoins, USDC, as gas. Okay. So this is a major, major thing that not a lot of people are privy to. But you will start to see applications that you don't even know are Avalanche based applications, right? That use USDC and others or other stablecoins as gas and transaction fees, right? And you won't even know it's Avalanche. And those will be the platforms that get hundreds of thousands, millions of users because you can't expect, the average user, right, to like come into a stock exchange, right, and expect them to pay for this random token that they've never heard of just to make trades on the platform, right? A transaction fee makes a lot more sense, right? Everyone's used to transaction fees in dollars, right? You're not going to be able to convince the world that it makes sense to have transaction fee occur in these alternative currencies. It's just not going to happen. So that in of it, that one fact alone, that you're able to that the energy intensity required for these video games forces them to use Avalanche is one. The ability to use stable coins to process, transactions in a decided decentralized application that could be a stock exchange or anything else, right, in the future. That's huge. And another one is just like look at the biggest corporations who are testing blockchain products where they're going. Like Deloitte, right? Deloitte rolled out this very specific use case using Avalanche where you don't know what Deloitte is, go look it up. It's one of the it's like they call it the big four. Like there are four major accounting firms in America, and that's one of them. If not, I think that is the biggest one. So they use their own blockchain with Avalanche to track like disaster zone data, right? So like if you're an insurance company, right? It's very important to track everything that happens in the correct chronological order and to log it properly when there's, and it's very difficult to do that. So they built a blockchain that I believe helps with that sort of thing. So that's today's video, guys. I mean, this was like a kind of a surface level overview on Avalanche and its benefits. But if you guys have any questions, you can obviously always DM our Instagram, or you can just leave a comment here. And otherwise, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk soon.